up, guys, and welcome to Press A Repeatedly. Justin Thomaso here with Christopher Gold.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back to spook you.
We're back to, I'm sorry, what?
To spook you.
Ah!
Our Halloween-themed podcast.
Off to a roaring start.
It only gets good ratings for 1 week of the year.
Yep, that's the most spooktacular time of the year, where we spook up some good fun, rely on only one spooky pun throughout the entire episode.
Yeah. But seriously, we are going to get spooky today.
Yeah, it's Halloween this year. It's one of the best times of the year. Everyone's favorite holiday. Get to dress up, run to people's houses, beat up the trick-or-treaters, steal their candy. Really just all around a fun time. And what's really great too is video games really get into it too. You see a lot of like spooky, scary games are released around this time of year.
They actually come out, I guess they come out really any time, but yeah, around October, definitely. Of course, that's where the hype is for the Halloween season, the people wanting to be scared. And yeah, this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, just being scared in games, what makes a scary game scary when you play it, and some particularly good scares in our gaming experiences.
That's right. We're going to be talking about those times that gave us the willies, made us look under the bed once or twice before going to sleep. Just those times that really, really made us shake and quiver.
It is Halloween week. Chris, what is your number one favorite candy bar of all time?
Of all time? Oh, God. You really put me on the spot here. I don't know why they jumped into my head because, I love them, but I wouldn't necessarily call them my favorite. But as soon as you asked that question, Kit Kats kind of jumped to the front of my mind. So I thought, you know what? Let's go with Kit Kats. I am not picky about my candy. You give me most anything and I will devour it. But yeah, Kit Kats were the first thing that popped into my head. So there you go.
I love Kit Kats. Have you heard in Japan about all the different Kit Kat flavors there are?
Yeah, I've actually had a few of those different flavors. Elena and I, whenever we go into Chinatown, we stop by a store where they actually sell some of those different flavored Kit Kats.
Oh.
Yep, and they are pretty tasty.
So, what flavors have you had?
Well, they don't offer a lot, but there's a green tea flavor. I think there's a strawberry flavor. And over in Japan, they have tons of different flavors.
Yeah.
Way more than like our standard chocolate, which really, why don't they have more flavors of that here? Like, people would go nuts if they had different flavored Kit Kats here.
Mayonnaise flavored Kit Kat.
Yeah, pumpkin spice Kit Kats.
Worcestershire sauce flavored Kit Kat.
Booger Kit Kats.
And Chris's favorite, pickle Kit Kat.
Ugh. Oh, God.
I would eat a pickle Kit Kat.
I know you would. No, that would be full of shit. I was going to say I would eat a booger Kit Kat before a pickle Kit Kat, but no, that's bullshit. I absolutely would not.
Do you like pickle flavored things? Have you had like pickle chips?
I've thought about that. I've actually thought about that, but I'm too scared to spend the $2 on a bag of chips and waste it potentially on finding out.
Well, Elena likes pickles, so get a bag of pickle chips. I mean potato chips, not like pickle chips.
No. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Have a bite. If you like it, continue. If you don't, pawn them off to her.
All right. What do you say we dive into this video game podcast that we run very successfly?
Yeah, we're a little lax tonight, but you know what? We're spooked. Can you blame us?
Listen. Ever since we started recording, I've been shitting my pants.
That's not much different from every other time we record, but all right, yeah. So let's hop right into it. Chris, what What are you playing? What are you playing?
All right, Justin, I am very glad you asked. Believe it or not, this week I actually played new things this week.
It's the new things horn.
The new things.
We don't use it very often.
No, we don't. Nick did not compose that one for us,
Yeah.
although he should have. But
You said new things with an S at the
new
end.
things.
Is that accurate?
Yes. I got a couple new games this week that I've been playing. So I have been playing a little game called Jenny LeClue Detective-oo.
So you did pick it up.
Yes, finally. After all this time, I remember, I think it was last year, they put out a demo of the game on Steam, and I picked it up from there and gave it a try, and it was really, really cool. You play as this young girl, Jenny LeClue, and she is the subject of a series of children's mystery novels that are written by I don't remember the author's name. I think it's something like Arthur Finkerton or something like that.
Kind of like a Nancy Drew.
Pretty much, yeah. She's a Nancy Drew, and the books, like the game, starts off with Arthur. He's writing Jenny's next adventure. And this is a book series that's been like 30 books. It's like a 30-book long series, and each book is its own unique adventure, right? And book sales are plummeting because the series is getting very stale. Nothing new or exciting ever happens. And his agent, Arthur's agent, calls him up and says, "Hey, listen, you need to switch things up because Jenny goes on different adventures where she finds people's missing cat or, finds somebody's lost car keys, very innocent and child-friendly mysteries that Jenny always solves, and everything is always raindrops and, beautiful butterflies and things like that."
Right.
And the agent is like, "Hey, listen, people are getting really, really tired of this shtick, so you need to mix things up. Like, we need Jenny to solve a murder mystery." And,
oh my god.
Yeah, and Arthur is like, at first he's like, "Are you serious? No, that goes completely against the whole spirit of the books. That would compromise everything I've built up over all these years and blah blah blah." And he's arguing with him. Then finally at the end he's like, "Okay, you know what? Fine, I'll give you what you want. You want a murder mystery? I'll give you a murder mystery." Then he slams the phone down and gets to his typewriter and gets to work. And pretty much he's narrating the story as it's going along. That's the framing device. And primarily, though, you're controlling Jenny in the story, and you're kind of guiding her actions. And when you do something, you make a choice to do something, and Arthur will narrate what you did and the results it has on the story. Everything kind of builds off of each other as it goes on.
That's a cool way to intro it.
Yeah, it's very cleverly framed. I love the art style of this game. It's got it reminds you of it's an adventure style game, right? So everything is 2D and all the characters move left to right. So it reminds you a lot of old LucasArts games or Sierra adventure games, that kind of style, But instead of pixelated characters and backgrounds, everything almost looks like it was cut from paper and arranged perfectly. Imagine not quite like old South Park style, because that's really underselling it, but you know what I mean. Everything looks cut out and arranged just so.
Yeah.
The animation is really, really smooth with all the characters moving around. The environments are bright and very active. As Jenny is walking around she's walking around in a university at first because her mom works there. And as she's walking across campus, you see leaves falling and birds are just kind of flying all over. There's parallaxing in the background and in the foreground. Like
Wow.
yeah, like the the production values and the polish on this game is just top notch. Uh, like I can understand this game took a long time in development, which is impressive. It was only one guy working on this game, but
Wow.
to see,
That's crazy.
yeah, to see the final product is just really really impressive. So Jenny is she's a very know-it-all type character. She walks into a room and she's the smartest person in the room, and she knows it, and she'll be the first one and the last one to tell you that she's the smartest one in the room. She's exactly that type of personality. She's very smug about everything, and her mother is a retired detective who teaches like forensics at the local college, and it's apparently like their family, the Leclue family, has a long line of mystery solving and being detectives in their family, so they're always giving each other mysteries to solve and everything. And it's just like it's really cool to see like the fun dynamic between her mother and Jenny, how that all kind of plays out. You start out meeting one character. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but you meet one character, and this character is just dropping so many different hints about like, oh, this person is going to be the one to die. Like, oh, like he's beloved by the entire community. He's only a couple days away from retirement. he's a couple days away from retirement. He's talking about like, oh, like I'm gonna like play with like once I'm retired, I'm gonna play with my plants and tend to my garden. I can, in a few days you're gonna find me playing around in the dirt. I'm just like, man, and like that's the writing style of this game. Like, it's a very funny game. It's very, very like self-aware, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like it has fun with the genre while also not like making fun of it. It just strikes that right chord. Actually playing the game, you control Jenny, you move around left or right. As you do, a little icon will pop up, and it's something that you can investigate. And Jenny will look at it, and she might pull out a magnifying glass, and you'll control it and look around the screen for different things that you can zoom in on to investigate even further. A lot of different mysteries that Jenny will solve will involve her talking to people, asking them questions, finding clues on the person's body, which will help her deduce the solution to this person's problem. And it really is like the game does a really good job in giving you that aha feeling when you actually piece together the mystery. Like, you actually feel like you did it. You're like, yeah, like I'm smart. Yeah, this game is 100% my jam, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, you love adventure games, and you love really good art styles, and you love a good sense of humor. So, it's certainly a Chris game.
Oh, yeah, this game is just perfect. I love it so much. I remember a complaint I had with the demo that they fixed in this game. They did not have a run button before. You had to like walk around all over the room, and Jenny, when she walks, has a very like kind of deliberate, slow-paced walk. It's a confident walk, but it's still a walk, and it takes a while to get from one end of the screen to the other. The game adds a run button where you hold down Shift, and then you can move left to right, and Jenny will actually run to where she needs to go, which is such a welcome addition. I can't even begin to tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure that would wear on you after a little while of just the walking, and it's cool that they took everyone's suggestions to add that into the final product.
Yeah, even with that though, there's a lot of areas to look around and explore in with Jenny LeClue. The environment, like each screen is kind of big, so you can wander around back and forth trying to find different things. Even with a run button, it can get pretty tedious trying to go back and forth trying to find different things and piece them together. Like the run button absolutely helps, but that's certainly it's certainly something, if you're not like a fan of the genre, if it's something that would turn you off, then it's going to turn you off. There's really nothing that can be helped there.
Right.
But all in all, though, like, I love the characters. Everyone is like unique and very colorful game too. Just everything pops and stands out from one another. You don't look at different characters and say, oh, they look just the same. No one blends into the background or anything. Just really, really good art direction, great style. I cannot recommend this game enough.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. How much is it?
$20.
Hey, it's not bad.
No, not bad at all. From what I understand, I think the game is definitely on Steam. I think it might be on itch, and I think it might be on consoles. Let me try to look it up real quick. Now, let me see. Okay, so right now, the game is out on iOS, Windows, and Steam, and everything else. It is going to be released on consoles a little bit later. So if you want to wait for the game to come out on consoles, you can do that. But if you have to solve the mystery and dig up the clues right now, PC is your best bet.
Got it.
All right, so that is Jenny LeClue Detective-oo, and that leads me, Justin, into the next big game that I got. This one, special shout out to Elena and Lewis. They both worked together to actually secure me the copy of this game, and that is The Outer Worlds.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby is right. This was, for all you loyal listeners out there, this was my most anticipated game of the year.
Yeah.
I saw a lot. It was the same guys behind the original Fallout. The game looked very Fallout-y. It seemed to me a return to form of that Fallout type gameplay that I was really missing. So finally got the game, popped it in, and Justin, it's pretty much exceeded my expectations at this point. It is exactly the type of game that I wanted and more.
Yeah, I also got it and definitely am enjoying it so far. Most of our PAR team has it and probably playing it right now. But yeah, man, so what about it is like exceeding your expectation?
It's exceeding my expectations because frankly, I didn't think they were actually going to nail it as well as they did. I thought there was going to be like something about it that was wrong or off, but I mean, they nailed the tone, they nailed the gameplay, the gunplay, everything about this game is it. I mean, it's pretty much off. It pretty much is a classic Fallout game, just with a different name, different companies. It's just so good. The game starts out, the entire galaxy, I guess, has been taken over by corporations. So corporations actually run a variety of planets. It takes place in the far future, so capitalism run amok, that sort of thing. And there's a rogue scientist who goes to a space pod, and he decides to free one of the captives in this transport carrier. And he's like, how about this one? And by doing that, he brings up a character creation screen where you can pretty much customize your character however you want.
I thought it was a pretty clever way to bring up the character creator.
I thought so too. Yeah, it was really good framing because this could be anyone. So you decide, oh, who's the person going to be? So I made my character. I made a female character. She's got kind of purpley hair, a bit of a squash nose, but she's got a lot of dirt over her face. I think I gave her a scar on her lip. And I had a lot of input as I was creating my character from Lewis and Elena. And at the end, I was asking, oh, what should I name her? And Lewis said, oh, she's got purple hair, maybe Purple Flurple.
Wow.
That was you? Yes. That was Elena. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, Elena was the one who said, oh, you should name her Purple Flurple. And I was like, all right. so I named my character Purple Flurple. And as soon as Purple Flurple comes to life, the scientist Phineas says, I need you to do work for me, and I forget what my motivation is, but he sends me to the nearby planet to what?
He wants to resurrect more of the people like you, but he needs a certain medicine or something that he only had one and he used it on you. So he's sending you to Earth to get more of that medicine so he can bring back more of the humans out of stasis.
That's right. And I love very, very, very mild spoilers. This literally happens in the first 3 minutes of the game. He sends you to rendezvous with this guy who's on the planet, and his plan is the two of you will team up and you'll kind of scour the area for this medicine initially. So he sends you down in the escape pod, and you crash land onto the planet, and when you get out, your pod has smashed the guy you're supposed to rendezvous with, because he had the beacon for where you needed to land, but he never let go of the beacon.
Yeah,
he was just he was just holding it land here. So you wind up smashing him, and Phineas is like, oh, damn it.
I love
what
I love later there's dialogue options, and the game's sense of humor is great, and it'll be like, oh, where is Alex, whatever his name is, and one of the options will be, oh, you mean that red smear under my escape pod right now?
Yep, I remember that. Yeah, so at that point, once you land, you meet up with you go through a little brief tutorial area, teach you how everything works. You get a gun for the first time, and away you go. I also love the way that they incorporated the old Fallout VAT system into this game. It's what is it? It's temporal time dilation.
Yeah. TTD, I think.
Yes, TTD. And it allows you to slow down time ever so briefly so you can shoot enemies more easily. Eventually, as you level up your characters and you allocate skill points to different areas like gunplay or melee or stealth, what have you, you can unlock the ability to target specific body parts the way the old VAT system is. So you can get someone in the arms, legs, torso, the head. I think it's a smart way to incorporate that mechanic into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And right now I'm in the main city, Edgewater, and Justin, I have a problem. I'm caught up in all of the side quests that you can discover all around Edgewater. I'm kind of sort of neglecting the main quest a little bit. I'm following it.
Yeah.
but I'm also getting sidetracked by literally every single side quest.
Yeah, I noticed that
There's
too.
there's so many, and they're all like, "Ooh, they sound interesting. Let me go do that." And then there's another one. Ooh, let me go do that.
I remember walking up to Edgewater, and like the first guy you talk to is this guy Silas. He's like a grave digger, and he's just like, "Hey, welcome to our town." And then all of a sudden, it's like, "So, I got a job for you." And it's like, "What? Like, you just met me." And then like you go, and like that job requires you to talk to other people, so you gotta talk to other people, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I can help you with that if you help me with this." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, everyone needs your help.
Yeah, they just spiral. And I mean, it is interesting, and the game does poke fun a little bit at how people are you like some of your dialogue options when people offer you like, "Hey, do a side quest for me." One of your options can be to respond to them like, "Are you sure you want to trust me with this? Like, you don't even know me."
Yeah. Yeah, the writing is really good. It's actually funny, which I think is pretty hard to do in a video game. It's not corny or anything. Like the responses are snappy and witty, and I actually like laughed out loud at some of them.
I was actually like, when I landed and I realized that I had crushed the guy I was supposed to meet up with, I was literally like doubled over laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, that's hysterical."
Yeah,
Yeah, but no, you're 100% right. The dialogue is written very well. The characters so far that I've met up with are really, really great, and everyone is unique, and they all have distinct personalities. I like it. Like the animations for everyone are a little stiff,
yeah.
which I mean that's classic Fallout right there. But all in all, everyone is really believable. Everyone has a really good story to tell. I'm invested in everyone so far.
The voice acting's great. The game is gorgeous. The environments are like breathtaking. It's got a very vivid color palette. Very similar to No Man's Sky. I think it's kind of was biting off of the No Man's Sky art style a lot, but it does look really great. And even the like facial expressions and just little details of people, like a wrinkle in a guy's forehead or something, like all really shine.
They really do. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the voice acting too, because the voice acting has been really, really on point. In fact, one of your companion characters, Parvati, she is actually voiced by Ashley Birch.
I thought I recognized that voice.
Yep, same voice as Chloe from our favorite Life is Strange.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, right now, I mean, I know I've only just scratched the surface with the Outer Worlds right now. I just got to in the like when you first start the game, you've got like a major choice that you need to make, and I was just presented with the other option. Like, you talk to the guy who runs Edgewater, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to do this," and you go to the other people, and they're like, "Well, instead of that, you could do this." I literally just talked to those other people.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, because I've been doing side quests this whole time, so that's why it's taken me so long just to get to that stage. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens there. From a lot of what people are saying, this game also does a really good job in not making things like morally like black or white. You know, there's no, "Oh, this is obviously the right thing to do," or, "Oh, this is obviously the evil thing to do." You know, like, every single choice you make might have good intentions, but it also has negative consequences that you have to weigh.
That's true. It does strike a really good balance. You know, I was talking about this game with Nick and Butch and Zool, and they brought up a really good point that this game is coming out at like the best possible time for a game like this to come out. Like, Bethesda is extremely dropping the ball, not just with all games they do, but like especially Fallout and the whole Fallout 76 fiasco and everything.
And now their Fallout first
Yeah.
subscription
Oh
service that they
yeah.
got, which is probably one of the most ill-timed announcements I
Yeah.
think that I can remember
Oh yeah.
a company making.
So that's a problem. A lot of the big game companies are just showing their more corporate side, and it's really been kind of gross lately. Microtransactions are still running amok, and then here comes, you know, we knew it was coming, but it still was relatively quiet, and I feel like it still kind of snuck up on a lot of people. But Obsidian's Outer Worlds with the creators of the original Fallout games, and they deliver what everyone has been looking for a few years, and no one's been able to give them. I think.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point because I mean, here you've got a game like it's a solid single player experience. Lots of things to collect and see and do. And speaking of which, yeah, you're 100% right. The environments in this game are incredible. Like I literally was looking around at the sky, seeing all the rings going across, and I was just like, "Wow, this is breathtaking." Um, yeah, it's just a solid experience. There's no like not bogged down with like multiplayer. You don't have to worry about opposing players griefing or trying to cause you headaches or anything. You just dive into this world and do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about anything else. It's like it's fun. It's just a refreshing. It's just so refreshing.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
It's something that was certainly like deeply desired for at least a couple years, and it's already paying off big time. I was going to pick up a hard copy on Sunday, and it was sold out at Target, sold out at Walmart, sold out at GameStop, and the guy at GameStop told me that all GameStops within a 50-mile radius did not have it. I was like, this is crazy. The game came out on Friday.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah, it was.
I had no idea it was sold out that well. That's fantastic for Obsidian and everyone else. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I had to download it, which I didn't want to because my internet is terrible. But it wound up not taking too long. It's only 20 gigs, and yeah, it took me about an hour. I hardwired into the modem and everything, and yeah, I'm only a couple hours in. It is a lot of fun. It took me a little bit of getting used to. I don't know about you, but I was struggling very early on. I was dying a lot. I'm not the best at first-person shooters to begin with, but I just feel like my like aiming and stuff was just very poor. I was missing a lot. I kept forgetting hitting the wrong buttons.
I was, man, let me tell you, I had enemies who were standing right in front of me, and I was shooting everywhere except where they were.
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, come on. Like this is pathetic. But yeah, no, I 100% know where you're coming from there. I'm not really the best at first person shooters myself, but this game is I don't know, like it's just got that, that feel. Where you're playing a game and it just feels good to play.
Yeah.
This game has that. And yeah, that to me is the mark. It's got something special here.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So that's gonna do it for me. Justin, I know. I mean, you've been playing Outer Worlds too. Do you want to dive in a little bit yourself?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was only played for a couple hours. I don't really have too much more to add than what you had. It definitely is a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to sinking more time into it. I was getting the feeling I got when I first started playing Fallout 4, which was like, oh wow, this game is huge and there's so much for me to explore, and it's just kind of got an addicting style of gameplay with really cool characters and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I think enough time has passed in between me playing Fallout 4 and for this game for like me to be really interested in a big grandiose style game like this again. So I am looking forward to it. I was trying to learn all the systems and mechanics and everything. Um, I seem to have a problem with big games that have a lot of like sub menus and a lot of text and stuff. I'm not sure what my deal is, but it's hard for me to focus and like read and learn and master like all that stuff. I don't know if maybe it's because I don't really play a lot of games this style. But there's just a lot of menus and lore and characters and stuff, and I wanna like build the best character I can and make sure I'm putting in the points in the correct skills and like not screwing up by picking up the wrong perk or anything. So just trying to really learn all of that. Maybe it'll come easier the more I play. But the game certainly does have a lot to offer in that regard.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of customizability with the game. It can be really hard to, I guess, figure out what exactly is a good path to take going forward. But that's what's, I think, really great about the game is you can do whatever path you want, and then as you level up and upgrade your character going forward, you can allocate your points and reallocate points however you want and build your character in different ways.
Yeah.
And you get like, I mean, they pass out experience points in this game like candy.
Yeah.
It is very easy. Like you talk to a character in a certain way. Oh, you get experience points. Oh, you open up a thing. Oh, you get experience points. Like, oh, all right, this is great. I'm learning things left and right here.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty cool to just see all different ways that you can level up and gain that experience. Another great thing we haven't mentioned is I haven't really seen a lot of bugs or slowdown or anything like that. The game seems to be running pretty flawlessly. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've been noticing the same thing. I mean, which is very refreshing because we're so used to seeing all sorts of bugs and glitches in Fallout type games, but no, in this game I haven't really seen anything too crazy or outlandish. No one has been in all sorts of horrible contortionist positions. People have been sliding around all over the place.
Yeah.
No one's been freaking out or anything. I've seen some mild clipping here and there,
Yeah.
but I mean that's to be expected. Outside of that, yeah, this like you said, this it's pretty solid.
Yeah. Same here. Mild clipping, maybe like a dead body falling into another dead body acts a little weird or something, but aside from that, like nothing too crazy. There was one thing that was weird though that when I was playing yesterday, you can equip armor to your companion, and I saw that we had an extra Marauder helmet, so I gave it to her to put on, and I was like, all right, I'm glad she's got more defense. But then I thought it was kind of weird, like how she's like following me with a helmet, and then when I try to talk to her, she has the helmet on, but then when we start talking, it like zoomed into her face, and like the helmet would just disappear, and she would just not have it on, so you could see like her mouth moving and stuff. And I was like, this helmet's dumb. Like I want to take it off. So like I went into her menu, and there was just no option for me to take it off. It was like it was glued to her head. Like all I had was an option to select it, and it didn't do anything. It was really weird.
It's funny. I was putting my character together, and I had initially built my character to be stealth because I always love stealthy characters. And I found some armor, and I was like, "Ooh, this armor it's got like a really high score and everything, and it'll really up my defense." And I just put it on naturally without thinking. And here it was heavy armor, which gave me like huge penalties to all of my stealth stats. So I couldn't sneak, I couldn't dodge, I couldn't do anything that a usually dexterous character could do. And I was like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't. So, yeah, you have to pay attention to a lot of different stuff.
Yep, definitely. But yeah, it's really cool. I hope to have a lot more to talk about it next episode because I am just barely getting my toes wet. But super excited, glad it's out, and can't wait to play more.
All right.
So that was Outer Worlds, and the only other thing I've really been playing this week, outside of trying to wrap up Link's Awakening, was I downloaded Tetris 99 finally.
Oh, I'll be honest. I'm surprised you hadn't picked it up at this point.
Yeah, I know I'm late to the party, but I was just looking through a list of games that came out this year and just seeing what I could do to add to my list of stuff that I've played, and saw that there, free download. I remember everybody talking pretty favorably about it earlier in the year, so I figured, what the heck, let me get that real quick and just give it a shot. Not expecting to be as addicted to it as I was.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. It's really fun. It's Tetris just against 98 other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, like, I'm not the best Tetris player, so I wasn't sure how well I would do, but I started out the first couple of games and I got like into like the 60s, 50s, and I was like, oh, you know what, maybe I am better than I think, you know. So yeah, I just kept playing a bunch, trying to understand like how to attack different people and like how to recoup from getting slammed with a bunch of other gray bricks. And yeah, I don't know, it has that like one more factor where like when you finish a game you're like, all right, let me just do one more, like, you know, hard to put down. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm happy to say at this point my personal best is 23rd place.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah. What was your personal best when you were playing?
Oh man. I don't want to oversell it. I think I did breach. I think I breached the top 20 once.
Yeah.
I think I got like maybe 18th or 17th. Once it gets up to that stage, I mean, you're playing with these people who are like really, really good at Tetris. And when I got as far as I did, I mean, you ever have like a run of Tetris where you're just like, oh man, like everything's just clicking, everything is just falling into the right place, you know?
Yeah.
You're just in a groove. I was in that groove, and that was as far as I got. And then after that I would get like, oh, you know, 48 or sometimes into the top 40s or the top 30, somewhere along those lines. I was actually surprised. I thought I would be a lot worse at it compared to other people than I was, but apparently I'm better at Tetris than I thought. The worst are those games where as soon as you start off, like 8 different lines target you, and
Yeah.
and they just bombard you right from the get-go, and it's like, oh, congratulations, you finished in 97th place. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, I had a couple of those. Yeah, it gets crazy because by the time you get to around like 30, you already have like a bunch of bricks that were attacked on you at the bottom, and the speed of the game just like quadruples, and it gets insane.
Can we talk just briefly about how awesome the music is?
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Like, it's the classic Tetris theme, but it's just remixed so well, where it's just like, it's got a heavy beat going, and it's just like, it gets your blood pumping, you know? You're just like, yeah, like, all right, let's do this. Let's say, you know, I got 99 fools, you know, I'm not locked in here with them. They're locked in here with me. Let's do this. And then he got
techno side.
and then he get knocked out first. You're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, it's totally a lot of fun. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet. Again, it's free. What do you got to lose? And yeah, see how far you can get.
It is free with a Nintendo Switch online subscription.
Ah,
Yeah,
good.
So that's the caveat.
Yes. But yep, that is it. And aside from my indie arcade, that's it for me this week.
Right. So, Let's say we dive into not your indie arcade, Justin, but in fact, your creepy arcade.
The Creepy Arcade.
For all you boys and ghouls out there who remember from last time.
Top notch.
Yes, thank you. See, we know more than one spooky pun. I assigned Justin for the first creepy arcade of this year. I assigned him the game Faith to rattle his bones. Justin, how is Faith?
Faith is definitely creepy. Chris, I made a promise to you last episode that I would not only play the game but beat the game, and I'm happy to say that I did beat the game. In fact, I got more than one ending.
Oh, awesome. So how many endings did you get?
So there are 5 total. I believe there's actually some secret endings too, but there are 5 to choose from or finish with, and I got 2.
Okay, cool. That's not bad.
Yeah.
How long did it take to get each ending?
So basically, there's like save points throughout the game, and I guess when you beat the game, you go back to the most recent save point, which is like the last act of the game. So you can just start from there and get a different ending that way. So you don't have to play through it all the way again.
Oh, okay, cool. That's very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. But I am a little ahead of myself. Let's back it up a bit.
All right.
Faith is a horror game made by a developer, and I don't have the name off the top of my head, but what he or she did was create this horror-based game in a solely old-school Atari style. So yeah, you're thinking like those blob pixels with the weird like sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is it. So you're probably thinking, how is that even scary? Let me tell you, they did an excellent job of making it scary. So if you're curious, you should definitely check out some videos of Faith, or better yet, just get it on itch.io and play it. It's free. You can donate any money you want to the developer, or just get it for nothing. But basically, the story of the game is there was a girl in this house in the woods who was possessed by a demon, and a priest was there once to exorcise her and believed everything was fine. But there was reports that she was back and haunting the house again. So the priest is going back there alone, of course, to investigate and try and put a stop to this demon once and for all.
Man, I don't think there's any situation in the world I want to be in less than in an abandoned house all by myself in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, it's certainly quite horrifying. So, yeah, there's definitely like that old school top down, like Atari screen by screen graphic style, but there's also like up close shots of things. Like the game kind of works like most horror games do, where you're finding items and letters and mementos and stuff that kind of spell out the lore of what's going on, which is interesting. Like you'll go to a well and you'll find a invitation to the girl's birthday party, or you'll go find a note from like the mother who's like writing to her husband, I hope you come home soon, kind of thing. And you're kind of piecing together the story and the characters that way. But where are you finding this stuff? In the middle of the woods, because how it starts off is you get out of your car, and I'm not sure how they did this, but they made some sort of like vocal effect that sounds like robotic voice acting from like the 1980s. So it's like, I have made it to the mansion. Like,
all right,
that's what you hear from the characters. And it adds to the creepiness factor. Of course, because like the priest is talking about like, and the Lord shall guide me, and it's like definitely creepy at that point. um, so you get out of your car and you're going up to the mansion, and you have to find the mansion first. So you're kind of searching through screen by screen of woods. You see some trees and like some deer hopping around and stuff.
That's nice.
But then, so all you're armed with, by the way, is a crucifix, and all you can do on your controller. I was playing with the Xbox controller plugged into the PC. You can move with the D-pad, and then you can press the A button to hold your crucifix up in the air. That's basically your only two options.
All you need is God, baby.
Yeah. So, I'm walking through the woods screen by screen trying to find the mansion, and I enter one screen and I'm just walking, and then out of nowhere you just hear like a screech, and this white like demon looking thing on all fours just comes like darting towards you really fast. Like you don't even have time to process what it is because it's coming at you so fast.
Oh God.
Now, I knew basically that this sort of thing was going to happen. We've seen some screenshots and stuff. So, like, trust me, my thumb, I don't think ever left the A button of, like, where you hold the crucifix. I was just ready for it at all times. And basically, if you face it and you hold the A button, it, like, scares it and it runs off. However, if you are facing the wrong way, or if you don't get the crucifix up in time, it just jumps on you and just turns you into a pile of flesh. Like, it just rips you apart.
Ugh, God.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've failed a few times, but I will say I got pretty good at expecting it and being ready for it. The problem is, you're moving screen by screen like, old style games, and this demon thing, if it is going to attack you at all on that screen, can come from any direction. So I was basically trying my damnedest to stay in the exact middle of the screen as most as I could, just so I could have the maximum amount of time to like turn and face this thing and like, banish it to hell as fast as I could. So, you're starting off, you're trying to find this house, you're going screen by screen. This thing may or may not jump out at you on different screens, you don't know. It's always horrifying. Even when you're expecting it to come, it's still horrifying. And eventually, you find the mansion, and the door's locked. And you're like, God damn it, I have to go find a key or something because I can't get in there.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, the door is locked, basically. So I'm already freaked out. I just want to get inside. There's this creepy music playing like the whole time, but it's also kind of like adventurous. It somehow had a cool like adventure theme to it, which I think I really liked about it. And it's very much kind of felt like the movie The Exorcist too. It must have been heavily inspired on that.
Right.
So I go a few screens over and I see a shed. All right, I'm sure what I need is in that shed. In fact, I think I found a piece of lore somewhere that said basically it was pointing me towards that shed. So I go in the shed and I see a key in the corner of the shed. I'm like, perfect. So I go up to the shed, and as I pick up the key, I see in the window a white leg dart by real quick.
Oh.
And I was like, what the fuck was that? Okay. So that thing is definitely gonna. And before I can even finish that sentence, it bursts through the door of the shed and just starts running towards me. And it's one of those demon things, of course. But I was ready for it. I knew it was coming. So I was like, ah! I like held my crucifix out in front of it, and it freaks out and runs back out of that shed. And I'm like about to have my 6th heart attack of the day. I've only been playing for like 10 minutes. Oh my god. So I'm like, all right, I got the key. I'm ready to go. So I go back inside. I go into the mansion, and there's a little tune that basically plays as you enter the mansion, and then the music just completely cuts out, and it's just pure silence.
Ugh.
And now I'm like horrified. I'm like, okay,
That's the fucking worst.
yeah, like, so I have to walk around this gigantic mansion, not knowing where I'm going, what I'm looking for, and there's no music or anything, no sound effects. It's just me moving through this mansion room by room. So I'm moving through my room, and I'm finding more lore. I'm finding more notes. I'm finding like drawings, a picture of the girl looking like demonic and stuff, and I'm like getting really creeped out. And you go in one room and there's a mirror, and you walk up to the mirror, and you see in the mirror's reflection behind you there's like a ghost, but when you turn around, obviously you don't see it. You only see the reflection in the mirror.
Ugh.
And there's like nothing you can do about it. So that's already really creeping me out.
God damn it. I hate when that happens.
Yeah. So you continue to move out the house, and I can really explain this more, but I don't want to give it away because it's part of what made this game so good. It was just like the things that happen in the house and just how the rest of the story unfolds. But to sum it up briefly, I'll just say things obviously start to get weird, and you kind of figure out where you're supposed to go, and you eventually run into the daughter, and things escalate, and there is a resolution. I know it's very vague, but I don't want to spoil anything because I really think people should play this game for like an hour's worth of a fun little horror experience that's really well done, and it's just really interesting how this ancient like game art style could be used to make like a horrifying experience. And yeah, it's awesome. I know I'm kind of abruptly ending this right now, but I just don't want to say too much more than that. It's an awesome game. It was definitely fun and creepy, and had a bunch of twists and special secret endings, and like we said, 5 endings to choose from. Yeah, it's awesome, and it's only about an hour to play through, so if you're interested, it's free. It's on itch.io. The game's called Faith, and you should really check it out.
I don't think you could put together a better sales pitch than that. The game sounds like fantastic. Like, it sounds scary as all hell, but it really, really sounds like it. Like you said, like a really fun experience if you just want to like get creeped out for a little bit, really get into the Halloween spirit. Then yeah, this game sounds like it's absolutely perfect. And it really is interesting to see how creative people can be with that old style, with the old art style and the old like sound system, where it's very limiting, but people can say, okay, I've got this limited palette to work with. How far can I take this?
Yeah, and I'm not someone who likes to be scared. I'm not a big horror fan really or anything, but I do like horror movies and games and stuff that like have good characters and tell a good story, and it's not just like random jump scares just to scare you or whatever. And I think this game has a good mix of like being like horror / almost adventure-ish, and like you're kind of on a quest to vanquish a demon, and like it really I think it tells the story very well for how simple of an idea that it is. And yeah, it's certainly interesting.
All right. Well, I, for one, am very glad that you enjoyed your creepy arcade game. I mean, unfortunately, by the time this episode comes out, it will be too late for Halloween, so we can't. It probably wouldn't be proper for us to have an additional creepy arcade game at this point. So we should probably
Chris,
move on to something else.
Nice try, Chris, but here's the deal. This episode will be coming out Halloween week, and we cannot have a Halloween-themed episode released on Halloween week without you playing a Halloween-themed game.
All right, well, if that's the deal, then what is the Halloween-themed game?
So, like all good games that I decide for you, oftentimes I reach out for assistance.
Oh, god damn it. How many times? Who was it this time? Was it Zool? Was it Butch?
It was indeed none other than Butch. Butch is a fan of watching Markiplier on YouTube play scary games.
No. Oh no. Markiplier
And
plays the scariest shit. No.
He reached out to me
No.
because he heard last week's episode and heard about Faith, and he saw Markiplier play Faith and said it was indeed a very scary game and that I was in for a lot. And I was.
You were.
However, I got through it and had a pretty swell time with the game. And Butch happened to mention that Markiplier was playing another game that was quite horrifying, and maybe you should consider giving this game to Chris. So, as a good friend, I took up Butch on his advice, and I'm going to bestow upon you the game he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This game is on itch.io. It is a name your own price download, much like Faith. And the game is called Mr. Hopp's Playhouse.
Mr. Hopp's Playhouse?
That's HOPP''S. Every kid has that one toy that scares them. Imagine if it came to life.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
Yes.
shit.
So, yes, Mr. Hopp's Playhouse. It's basically, it's almost got, some of the screenshots look like,
The screenshots themselves are creepy enough.
I don't know if you've ever seen, well, I know you have seen this, Chris, but loyal listener, you may not have seen the Game Grumps episode where they play the Dennis the Menace game for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, I do remember that one. Yeah, that's a classic episode.
Yeah. The screenshots graphic style almost kind of looks like that.
It's funny, this one screenshot of like the girl looking at the screen. From a distance, it actually looks pretty realistic. I just blew it up so I could look at it in more detail, and I just noticed the terrifying bunny face hidden in the shadows staring out at me. Oh, fuck. All right.
Yeah. So basically, it's a side scroller, and you're moving from like end to end in the room, and there are these dark, hidden hallways that Mr. Hops likes to creep in and out of and try to scoop you up. So yeah, it looks definitely creepy and unsettling, and you know, I think it is a good counter to Faith, which you have assigned to me for this week.
No, it sounds great. It looks fucking awful. not in a bad way, just in a way that is bound to scare the shit out of me, which is always good and fun and terrific. So, I mean, hey, you know what? Good for the goose, good for the gander. I want to scare the pants off you. I should have expected to get something equally as terrifying in return. So, you know, fair play.
Hey, I held up my end of the bargain. It's your turn, and I think you will hop your way to freedom.
Well, I'll let you know if I survive Mr. Hopp's Playhouse next time.
All right. With that being said, what do you say we take a quick break? And when we come back, we will hop into some spooky, festive Halloween video game festivities.
Ooh. So stupid. All right.
Justin Tomasello here with Christopher Gold. And Chris, before we get to our video game Halloween festivities, I believe there is something in our inbox.
Emails.
Yes, Justin. Hot off the presses. Surprise, surprise. This one comes from faithful listener, friend of the show, your cousin, not mine, Louis.
You sounded upset about that.
I want him to be my cousin, but he's just not.
Tough nuggies, he's mine.
Well, we'll see about that.
What?
I don't know how I'm going to be able to change that, but you'll see. You'll see. Anyway, the point is, Lewis sent us an email, and this one is perfect because it fits with our Halloween theme for the day. And Justin, it offers up a fun, quick little game for us to play.
Oh, man. Fantastic.
So this is a fun episode. It's a Halloween themed episode. So you know what? We said, hell yeah, let's squeeze in a game. Let's scare ourselves silly. Let's see what Lewis has to offer. So these are going to be the rules of the game. So here we go. This again from Louis Tomasello. Hi, PAR guys. In the spirit of Halloween, I thought it'd be a fun idea to play a little scary trivia game. Here are the rules. For each of the listed Halloween-related games below, each of you think of the Metacritic score that game received. Whose guess is closest to the real number gets a point. The answers are attached to the email. Some games had multiple ports, so guess the average score of all its releases. Do not open until after all guesses have been made. Alright, so...
Okay, got it.
So, Lewis has 9 games listed here. We have to guess the Metacritic score of these games, and whoever is closest gets a point. Alright, so I've got my handy-dandy notebook. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list each of these games 1 through 9. And then, Justin, you are going to list a score. I'm going to list a score, and then we'll look at the Metacritic score. And whoever is closest wins. Now, we're not doing Price is Right rules. So, if you go over, it's fine.
Yeah, so it's closest no matter what.
Yeah, closest no matter what. So, if you go over, that's perfectly good. All right. So
let's roll.
Let's roll. Here we go. All right. So now we're going to go through each one, and then we'll look at the Metacritic scores. All right. First one. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. PS1 came out in 1997.
All right, so I know for a fact that's arguably the best Castlevania game to have been released. I will say its Metacritic is an 87.
87. I'm going to go higher than that. I'm going to go 92.
Okay.
I think that one was very well received. All right. Second, Resident Evil PS1 for 1996.
Wow, the original Resident Evil.
The original.
I think that one was also received very well. However, I know tank controls are an issue. Back then, it was more commonplace. I'm gonna go with 79 on that one.
Ooh, interesting. I'm gonna go a little higher with that one too. I'm gonna go 84.
Okay.
All right. Third on the list, BioShock for Xbox 360, PS3, and PC.
This is the original BioShock?
The original BioShock.
I know that there's another one that reviewed quite well. Let's go 85.
Ooh, 85. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I almost don't want to go 86 to Prices Right you and one up you. I'll go a little bit higher than that. I'll go 89.
Okay.
I'm very optimistic on these games.
Yeah.
All right, starting to get some clunkers here. Number 4, Friday the 13th, the game for PC in 2017.
Oh man. Now this one's a little tricky because I know it launched terribly, but I think they were able to update it and get it a little bit better.
See, here's the issue with Metacritic though.
Yeah.
That score is always based off of the initial reviews.
Yeah.
So even if there are updates after the fact to make the game better, it still will have the original Metacritic score.
Very true. I'm gonna go 53.
53. This time I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna go 49.
Okay.
All of our guesses so far have been very in line so far. We haven't really differed too much on any of these games.
We are pretty close.
Number 5. Oh boy. Aliens, Colonial Marines.
Oh, man.
PC 2013.
27.
27, man, that's pretty good. That's generous. I'll go even lower than that. I'll go 21.
Oof.
Yeah, that man, one of the shittiest shits that ever got shat. All right. Oh, here's one special gift for you, Justin. Number 6, Luigi's Mansion, GameCube 2001.
I don't know how well that did by the critics. I think it would probably be around like a 75.
That's what I was thinking it was going to be. You know what? It's ride or die together. I'm going 75 too.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Yep. Ride or die. All right. If we get it the same, then it's a tie. Let's see. Number 7, Dead Space, Xbox 360, PS3, 2007. The original Dead Space.
I know one of those is really bad. I don't think it was the original. I will go 71.
71. Okay. I don't think it was that poorly received. I'm gonna go with 83 on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that one was. I think a lot of people really like Dead Space. All right, number 8, Metroid Other M, Wii 2010.
I know the fans hated that. Critics, I know. I think they like it more now, but I think initially it did not do very well. But I don't think it was wretched, so I probably will say 68.
68 sounds good. I'm going to go with 74 on that one.
Okay.
All right, and the last game for the PS2 in 2001, Silent Hill 2.
Oh man.
This was a good one.
Yeah, it was. Let's go 89.
Ooh, 89. I might go a little lower on this one. I'll go 85. All right, so we've got all our scores. I'm opening up the score list now to look at everything. Okay.
Opening the envelope.
Opening the envelope. Ooh, okay. So Castlevania Symphony of the Night got a 93. Justin, you guessed 87, and I guessed 92.
Wow. Okay.
Point
Dang,
for Chris.
you were almost perfect.
All right. Resident Evil PS1 got a 91.
Wow.
You guessed 79, and
Oof.
I guessed 84.
Okay, not a good start.
All right. I'm loving this so far. This is great. All right. BioShock had, because it was 3 different versions, Xbox 360, PS3, PC, had 3 different scores, 96, 96, 94, for an average of 95.
Wow.
Justin, you guessed 85, and I guessed 89.
God damn it.
All right. This is great. I'm having the time of my life here. All right. Friday the 13th got a 61. Really?
Wow.
definitely higher than I would have thought. Oh, Justin, you got 53, and I guessed 49. So that's a win for you.
Hey, here comes my comeback.
Here's the comeback right here. Aliens, Colonial Marines got a 45, which on Metacritic is just fucking pathetic. You guessed 27, I guessed 21, so that's you.
Wow, we thought it was way worse than it actually was.
We did, yeah. All right. Luigi's Mansion got a 78.
Whoa.
On Metacritic. We both guessed 75 on that one, so that one I'm gonna call a tie.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So half a point to everybody.
So 3.5 to 2.5 right now.
3.5 to 2.5. All right. Number 7, Dead Space. Again, 360, PS3, PC. Got an 89, 88, and 86 for an average of 87. All right. So, Justin, you guessed 71, and I guessed 83. So that's another point to Chris. Metroid Other M. Wii 2010 got a 79. Justin, you guessed 68, and I guessed 74.
Ugh.
And Silent Hill 2.
Chris is running away with it.
Oh, Justin. All right. Wow. All right. So, Silent Hill 2 got an 89. Justin, you guessed 89.
Whoa.
And, yeah, I guessed 85. So, you got that one exactly. I'm going to count that. It doesn't matter. I'm going to count that one double.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll count that one double just because you literally nailed that one exactly.
Wow.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 for Chris, and 1, 2, 3, 4.5 for you. Chris wins.
Wow.
Why do I always win the ones where there's no prize?
Oh no, you won a prize because Lewis is dead to me now, so he is now your cousin.
So now he's my cousin. Yes,
Yeah.
I've earned Lewis's cousinship.
But yeah, no, in all seriousness, that was actually really fun and a really clever idea for a game, Lewis. Thank you for putting that together. And like as Chris said earlier, that fits our show perfectly.
Yes, it does. Man, what a fun way to kick off the creepy festivities for this week.
Yes, thanks again, Lewis. And don't forget to everybody out there, if you have an email, go right on ahead and shoot it over to us at parpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, we love to hear from you as always. Thank you again, Lewis. So, I mean, we got things really kicked off on a scary foot here. Now, we've been playing games pretty much all of our lives, and I mean, we've had a lot of fun times in games and sad times, but we've also had scary times playing a lot of games. So, I mean, Justin, let's talk about that a little bit. What are you afraid of?
You know, when I was thinking of this idea, Chris, you and I were talking about it earlier, I think it starts from what's successful in scaring somebody in a game, right? Like what makes you tense, what creeps you out, what gets you on edge to set up those big scares that are coming down the line. And I think the first big thing that comes to my mind is actually what I was talking about a little bit earlier when I was doing my indie arcade. But no music in a game really creeps the heck out of me. Even if it's not a scary game, but just like walking around in silence, it just adds like so much more. I don't know if it's realism or like just increases anxiousness or builds up tension, but it just really just kind of bothers me playing a game and kind of puts me at quite unease.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that completely. Just having music it's almost like a blanket, you know, like, yeah, you're wandering through like a haunted house, everything is all scary and creepy, but there's some music there to let you know, hey, you know, don't worry, everything's okay. It'll be fine. Even if the music itself is a little bit creepy, it's just something there to like fill the void a little bit. If you don't have anything to fill in those gaps, then your brain starts filling in those gaps of what could be out there, and your brain is just like, oh man, there's something out there going to get you. Something out there is going to get you bad. And you're like, brain, shut up. Don't
Yeah.
don't make me think those thoughts. Cuz that also like that kind of like leads me into one thing that scares me most is ambient noise. Like again, if there's no music and you hear just ambient sounds like rustling of leaves, you almost hear like the footsteps of something and you're like, oh,
Oh
what was
man.
that? But it was just like a little animal or something running through the woods. That's also another thing that scares me, the woods. Like if you're just out in the middle of the woods all by yourself, and especially when it's dark, and man, it's just very creepy, like I don't know, it's very unsettling. I know there's like a lot of like psychological theories into why the woods creep a lot of people out, the separation of man from the natural element, that sort of thing. um but it's, man, it just has a does something to me, that it's always a very unnerving environment for me, especially in games.
Yeah, definitely. The idea of just kind of pitch blackness, or you're just surrounded by woods that anything can come out of it, any angle, at any point. Yeah, it's definitely horrifying.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like because I mean, you're prey essentially. Like
yeah,
it triggers a prey instinct in you. Because I mean, literally, what are you in the middle of the woods? You're this pink, chewy, delicious thing with no fur. You don't run fast. You're literally a sitting duck in the middle of the woods,
yeah,
and something could just walk up to you and be like, "Oh, all right, this isn't even worth the effort, but all right, sure." And just kill you right then and there.
yeah. I want to go back to your music blanket analogy. I think that's really great. When I was playing Fallout 4, there's definitely some parts of the game that are tense and creepy. And I remember the first time I really encountered the super mutants, which were those really big, ogreish looking guys. There was a quest where I had to basically infiltrate one of their camps and just like get to the top of it and get some item or something. But basically, I had to go through killing a bunch of these giant, horrifying creatures. And I was just listening to the soundtrack of the game, of just like the very ambient noise. It's beautifully done by Inan Zur, I believe is the name of the composer.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but it was definitely, I was tense, right? So what I did was flip on the old '50s radio station and listen to all those great snappy Fallout tunes, and it completely transformed the game for me. Like I was so relaxed. I'm like singing along as I'm like blasting super mutants heads off and stuff, and it made that whole experience so much more like it was still tense, and like there was still some crazy parts, but like it was a lot easier to get through that. Just because I was listening to these fun songs while I was doing it, and it's really crazy how different of an experience that created.
It really, really makes a huge difference. It's funny you mention Fallout. I had so many creepy moments where I was playing Fallout 3. It was one of my favorite games ever. Uh, Man, how many times where was I down in like the tunnels somewhere, or I forget what the house. There was some factory or a house somewhere in the middle of the wastelands where you went in, and there were these radioactive feral ghouls, and they were so irradiated that they actually like glowed yellow sometimes, and they were literally just they were literally the only source of light in this place, because
Oh God.
it was pitch black otherwise. So like they would run it and be like and just like sprinting down like a hallway at you, and the only way you know they're coming is you can see them coming, but you don't know where to run because it's pitch black. so my only choice is to fight, and I'm like screaming as I'm trying to shoot them. And I mean, of course I'm low on ammo because I'm in this middle of this spooky, creepy abandoned place where that's what was great about Fallout 3 too, is like, oh, they weren't just going to have ammo lying around wherever. They had ammo laying around where it made sense. So in the middle of like a factory or so like that, there wouldn't have a lot of ammo in there. So of course that's where all the ghouls were, and that's where whatever quest item it was I was hunting for happened to be. So I'm like, shit, fuck. Fallout 3, man, that's a game that really got me. Now, like, how susceptible are you to the good old classic jump scare?
I mean, I wish I could say that they were nothing to me, but they definitely get me still, even when I'm expecting them. And whenever I play a horror game or at a tense or scary point of any game, I'm always expecting them. So I'm like ready for them, and they're still startling, but not as much as they would be if it just kind of came out of nowhere. Some people love them. I do not. I do not like to be like randomly scared out of nowhere and just have my heart beating at my chest.
Yeah, see, like, a jump scare is like really good in like a burst, it's something you can't just use like over and over and over again, because it's cheap, like it's lazy, like, oh, I have something jump out at you out of nowhere, and you hear like the violin go ding, like it's just so cliche. If you use it sparingly, it can be really, really good. What really gets me though is like that sense of dread, like when the atmosphere of the game itself is super, super dark and creepy, and you've just got a feeling of unease the entire time you're there. And this may be a little weird, but I feel like one of the best areas in games that really captured that moment for me was the Forest Temple from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, no, I always felt uneasy playing that temple anytime I played it in my life.
Yeah, it's just something about the music, I think. Like, it kind of like, it sounds almost carnival-ish, like, but it's darker and really, like, grim. You've got the ghost sisters who are floating through. It's not a happy place. At all. Man, yeah, Ocarina of Time is a game that really went out of its way to like scare the crap out of you. Especially, remember the bottom of the well area?
Oh god, where all the zombies come to life.
All the zombies, and you've got that friggin' monstrosity, the dead hands thing that like shuffled towards you, and its head was like flopping all over the place, and it had the hands like popping out of the ground. Like, what the hell was that thing?
Why was that there?
Why did it exist? It was so fucking scary.
Yeah, that is really horrifying.
Yeah, and you had to do that as Kid Link too. Like, you were a little kid having to deal with that thing.
Yeah, and we're not even talking about Majora's Mask here, whose like whole MO was to have this creepy, like morbid, really unsettling gameplay and story.
Yeah, the Zelda's franchise has had a lot of really dark moments like that in its history.
Yeah. So speaking of franchises, that brings us to our next question here. Of all of the video game horror franchises that are out there, that have been out there, what do you think is probably your scariest?
That's a good question. I mean, I still think a lot of the Fallout series can be really scary in and of its own right, because again, like, you dealing with the feral ghouls, and they're always hiding in really dark and scary places. I mean, I don't I don't know about you, but I always tend to shit myself when being attacked by a death claw. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's never really a fun time. Plus, just like I don't know, just the general horror of everything going around you, because you're literally wandering around like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and like that's like a lot of the shit that gets to me, like it's a lot of the areas like, oh, there's a abandoned house, and you go in there and there really isn't anything of consequence in that house, but like the door will be locked, and you'll pick the lock and you'll open the door and you'll see a skeleton lying in the bathtub. There's like a dried pool of blood next to the tub, and there's a knife, like a rusted knife that you can pick up down there. And you like piece it together and you're like, oh god, like just, like it's not that stuff that like jumps out, it scares you right away. It's like the horror of realizing like, holy
Yeah.
shit, like what became of the world, like that, like everything, society's collapsed, these people, like I mean, that game did an amazing job with environmental storytelling,
Yeah.
like not
Absolutely.
explicitly describing to you, oh, here's what happened. Like it's showing you like, hey, yeah, this happened. And it's very, very unsettling, and it's disturbing in a way, but like in a good way,
Yeah.
it tells its story very well.
That's a really good description. The thought, the threat of nuclear war is something that we do sometimes think about here in everyday life. I'm not saying that if it were to happen, we'd have death claws running around, but like, just still the idea of a country being able to destroy another country with the press of a button itself is very horrifying.
Yeah, it is. Now, what about you? What franchise do you find spookiest?
I was thinking about the question a little bit more traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at just horror game franchises straight up. My mind could come back to Resident Evil, but it's kind of. I think when I was younger, I was definitely very afraid of Resident Evil, but the way that the franchise kind of turned. I mean, obviously we see that they're back on track now with how well Resident Evil 7 did. But you know, starting with 4, but then mainly 5 and 6, switching over to pretty much like an action shoot 'em up game. Kind of really, I guess, kind of was a downturn for the franchise.
Right.
Some of their tropes are kind of getting old, with just regular zombies and everything. Zombies are way overplayed now. I think I might give it to Silent Hill, to be honest. I've never played them because I'm way too horrified to even give them a shot. But I have watched other people play them. I've watched some like walkthroughs and just some videos about the game, and I like their storytelling. I like their character setup, and just the world that they build with these like horrifying creatures. That pyramid head guy always freaks me out. There's a lot of really crazy, surreal like jump scares, and just lots of just really mentally crazy, horrifying stuff that's concocted for those games.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Silent Hill, those games really did a good job in, again, like putting you in that atmosphere of dread, and like, oh man, like everything here is so grim and spooky, and like it just gives you that general sense of unease. Like there really isn't a lot of jumping out and scaring you like there is in Resident Evil, especially the early games with the way the environments were designed. A lot of the spookiness was in a lot of jump scares, and in how the game was designed with the camera angles and the fixed cameras overhead. Like you would go down a hallway and everything would be fine, and then you turn a corner and the camera would shift, and all of a sudden, oh hey, there's a zombie right in front of you, and you'd be like, oh shit, and you'd like run back to try to get some distance and take them out, or to get away from them. That was what Resident Evil really relied on for the longest time.
Yeah.
Silent Hill really just did a good job of being like, hey, here's a scary town that's literally covered in fog. Things can come out of wherever at any time, so you're just constantly on guard as you're wandering around. And again, like, yeah, the pyramid head guy was not great, but then there were the headless nurses, which, not fun. Just a lot of Silent Hill was never that terrific. Yeah, I mean, it was terrific. It was well made. It's just, for me, I'm got the weenie gene, very heavy, so never really did much for me.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah, and I just kind of wanted to wrap up the discussion with, maybe, I know we talked about some of these already, but just some memorable times or a point of a game that scared you as a kid growing up. For me, this sounds really stupid, but the first time I played Mario 64, and you go into the Big Boo's haunted house, and there's one part where you go down the stairs and there's just this piano sitting there, and when you run up to it, it just comes to life and has these incredibly huge, sharp fangs, and just starts like flapping its mouth at you like all crazy and like just jerky, and just comes out of nowhere. And like that, for some reason, I know it's lame, but it like really scared me the first time I played that.
See, what's funny is you say it's lame, but when you were asking this question, that was literally the first thing that popped into my head was that friggin' piano, because there was no reason to expect it. There was nothing in the game leading up to that point where it's like, oh, hey, maybe this piano's got it, and then it just starts chomping away at you. And you're like, whoa, holy shit! Especially because that thing doesn't start chomping like until because I remember, I think it was a blue coin that was right behind it. So you think, oh, let me just scoot around this piano and get there, and you're like halfway to scooting towards that blue coin when it comes to life and starts chomping at you. So it's already like you're right there when it's attacking you. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I feel like I might have talked about that before on this pod. I can't remember, but if I did, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's definitely one that stuck with me.
Yeah, man, like, I mean, I've had a lot of different moments. I'll go outside the box a little bit. There was a game that came out years ago. It was called Bounty Hunter. It was Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
Okay.
And you were basically playing as Jango Fett, and it was like a side story of how it was like a tie-in to one of the Star Wars movies, where Jango Fett is pretty much, he becomes the base that all of the clone troopers, all the stormtroopers were based off of. So they're all clones of him. And this game is basically explaining, okay, well, how was Jango Fett chosen for this? So he's like given a really crazy mission to do. So he's got to travel the galaxy and collect bounties on different people. It wasn't a great game, but I loved it. It was like one of those, like, it was still fun. The game had a ton of problems with it, but one of the things he had to deal with, your main target that you had to capture was this evil Jedi who like turned bad. She wasn't quite a Sith, but she was getting there, and she became the leader of this cult of weird alien things. I forget what they were. I forget what exactly they were called, but they like attacked you in swarms, and it would just happen like at different times in the game as you were going along. You're like, things are getting a little weird, and then they would just like come out of the trees, and they were like, and they would like literally just swarm you, and they'd be like, oh god, and you're like trying to shoot them. I'm flying away my jetpack. I've got my flamethrower on my wrist, and I'm lighting them all on fire. And as they're lighting on fire, they're like like screaming. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's pretty horrifying.
Yeah, and yeah, it was something else. I remember I was playing that game one time, and later in the game, you get kidnapped by this evil Jedi, and it turns out she's a hot lady, and she's like doing this weird like stuff with you, like as she's got you like tied down. She's like, "Oh, you think you can get me?" And then she like literally straddles on top of you to like taunt you. And Dad came in to talk to me about something. He was like, "What the hell are you playing?" I was like, I swear, this rest of the game isn't like this." "Well, what are you doing with that boater?"
Oh, it's just the joystick.
"Oh, I see."
And truly, that was the most horrifying day of young Chris's life.
Yep, really shaped the man that I am today.
Yeah, unless you got any more, Chris, I think that's going to wrap up our combo today.
I mean, I can't think of any better place to wrap up the discussion than that.
Yeah, the amount of movies I like am watching with my parents, and then like a very awkward sex scene is happening, and we're all just sitting there in silence because like all
No
three
one
of us are very aware of what's going on. All three of us don't want to like make a comment on it, but all three of us are just trying to just wait for it to go to the next scene, and it's just so awkward.
I can just imagine like your dad trying to diffuse the tension, being like, "She's got nice boobs." Like, Dad, that's not helping.
True story. The first time I ever saw boobs was Dad was going to show Nick The Godfather, and he was like, "All right, Justin, you gotta go to bed." And I was like, "Why do I gotta go to bed?" He's like, "Just go to bed." I'm like, "It's not fair. Nick doesn't have to go to bed. Why do I have to go to bed?" And my dad was like, "All right, just don't tell your mother." And like, we watched The Godfather, and it was yeah, there were some boobs, and that was the first time I saw them.
Yep. I don't remember my first boobs, but I've definitely seen boobs before. Ladies.
You don't sound very convincing. Well, loyal listeners, you may not have signed up for this history lesson on the first time your two co-hosts have seen breasts, but you got it anyway.
Yep, here we are. We finally arrived.
And with that being said, that's going to do it for this week. Remember, Presley repeatedly posts new episodes Tuesdays on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and Spotify. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and review the show, or tell your friends about us. It helps other people find the podcast, and will really help us grow. And thank you to all who have rated, reviewed, and subscribed so far. We love you.
You can follow us on our Facebook page or on Twitter and Instagram. We are at PAR_podcast. I'm at cgold113, and Justin is at oaf7724. You can email us any questions or comments at parpodcast@gmail.com. That's parpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out on our website, pressarepeatedly.com. And that's all for this week. Chris and Justin signing off. And remember, to fight off a gang of marauders so you can save the company's bottom line, press A repeatedly.
We are professionals.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I got to do some research.